Hello, hello, it's Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. We are going to draw a red-eyed tree frog today. You need a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, and an eraser, or the back of the pencil eraser will do. We need your paper to be vertical today. So line your paper up vertically, and I'll move my guide, and we'll get started. All right, so on my guide, I was over a little too far to the left. So we are going to start just shy of the middle of your paper. So the middle of my paper is here. I'm just going to scooch over just a tiny bit. We're going to do an oval that is angled off to the left and sort of pointed down. Nice and loose with your pencil. Let's draw an oval. Round and round you go. Whole arm from the shoulder. The only part that's touching the table is this part of your hand. When you draw like that, it lets you get the shape a little bit easier. Okay, so this is going to be the body of our red-eyed tree frog. Down here toward the base of this oval, we're going to add in a circle off to the left here. This is going to be one eye. And off to the edge of that, we're going to add in an oval. Add a diagonal just across from that. Just kind of take your hand and drag it across. We're going to add in another circle. These shapes are a little bit smaller, so you can just use your hand for this. So for this, you can rest your whole arm. Round and round we go. And then on the inside of that circle, we're going to add in another circle off to the right side this time. So their eyes are looking opposite directions. Kind of cool. All right. In between those eyes, we need some nostrils, and those nostrils are going to be just the teeniest, tiniest little ovals sitting right next to each other. All right, let's go. Let's start from the back end and work our way up. So we've got the main body of our tree frog. He's kind of all crouched, and all of his little limbs are bent. So off the back end of our very first oval, we're going to add in another oval. It's going to be angled up like this. This is going to end up being his back leg. Now once we've got that oval drawn, we're going to go about 3/4 of the way over into that oval and add in an arc, just like that. So that is going to end up giving us like his thigh and his calf. At the end of that oval, we're going to add in a great big circle, about like that. These guys have the coolest hands and feet, we're going to call them. I don't know exactly what they're called, but they have these little toes that are going to be rectangles off of our circle here. We're going to add in some rectangles, and at the ends of them, bigger circles. So the circle is going to be fatter than the rectangle for the toes. This part at the very end is sticky, and it helps them stick to the leaves and the tree limbs. Go over a little bit from that, add in another rectangle, just like that, and a bigger circle. Go over a little bit further and add in another rectangle, just like that. To get the rectangles, I'm just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. If you want to draw just a straight up rectangle and not go back and forth, you can do that. Just 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do that. And then add in your circle. You want to make sure your circle is bigger than your rectangle. Now to connect these guys along where we drew that round shape there, that circular shape there, we're just going to connect them with little U's, little arcs or U's. They're very wide shapes to get, so kind of for the connecting webbing there. All right, so we've got our back leg. Let's do our other back leg. It's going to be out front here. Now at the very base of this oval, we have it's kind of like a squarish kind of shape, like that. I'm going to draw on that side, but you won't see it. This is kind of like the tail end of our frog. So we're just going to add in kind of a square shape there. And then off of that, we're going to draw our next leg. This leg is going to come off of that square, and it's going to be about this big. So that oval is a little bit fatter down here than it is up here. Not by much though. All right, so once you get that, we're going to have another oval come off of that. Now these shapes are smaller, so I am just kind of using my hand. You can see I go around and around and around. Mine's not perfect. Yours won't be perfect. Throw that idea right out the window. It's too stressful. Art should be fun and enjoyable. We don't need it to be stressful. All right, so we've got like the thigh. This would be the knee and the calf heading back. Now the foot is going to come. That's a great big foot. It's going to come off of there, but we're going to give the front part of that shape with a circle. And then to connect it back, we're just going to add in a little arc. All right, it'll make sense when we go over it. There's parts that are hidden. All right, now let's add in those toes again with our rectangles, those simple rectangles, and the fatter circles on the end. Give me a thumbs up if you're following what I'm saying here. All right, head around another one. One here. And the bigger circle on the end. One more. And a bigger circle on the end. Very good. Now to connect this to that arc, I'm just going to kind of bring that in because that part isn't actually rounded. So I'm just going to add that into that arc. All right, now we need to add in those little connector U's there. Just a simple little arc in between those toes. All right, now we need some front legs. So let's do this one since we're right here. Add a diagonal from those nostrils. We're going to add in our first oval for that front arm. And it's going to be right about here. So when I say add a diagonal from those nostrils, if you're not sure where to put it on this body oval, if you go to where we drew those little ovals for the nostrils and just draw a little line over, you'll see that's the diagonal I'm talking about there. And then add in a little oval for that forearm. It's forearm to elbow. Now we're going to go another oval that's thicker this time. That would be like elbow to wrist. Just like that. Round and round you go. At the end of that, let's add in that circle for the hand. And on this guy, we're going to have 3 fingers because one's kind of tucked under. We're going to add in our little rectangles and our circles. Round we go. They're spaced fairly evenly. One more here. Just like that. And now we're going to add in those little arcs. It's a little repetitive, but we've got it. And now connecting back to this forearm onto the hand, we're just going to add in like a little arc there. All right, let's go to the other side and do our last arm. On this one, we don't see so much of the forearm. It's bent in a way that that's tucked underneath the frog's body. So we are going to add kind of right by this eye here, an oval, just like that. It's okay if it overlaps. We're using our pencil right now, and you're not going to see that part in the long run. At the end of that oval, let's add in another circle, just like this. Around and round we go. And now we're going to add in those 4 toes, or fingers. We'll call them fingers since we're up by where our hands would be. All right, one rectangle with a bigger circle on the end. Same thing here, another rectangle with the bigger circle on the end. Another rectangle with the bigger circle on the end. And one more at the very end here. Rectangle with a circle. To connect that back, just like we did on all these other ones, we're going to add in that straight line because it's not curved on that side. All right, let's add in the underbelly and a little bit of a mouth here. So for the underbelly, we see on this frog from this elbow, or actually in a little bit from that elbow, we're just going to do an arc headed back to where this leg meets up with this oval. In that little crease there, we're going to add that in. All right, so this part here is going to be the mouth of our frog. So where we've got our oval shape, we are going to add in just like a little mimicking line, I like to call it, where you've got your oval. Pick your favorite line there, and we're just going to come out just ever so slightly from there. And just kind of follow that shape and connect it. Looks like you're drawing like a big smiley face in front of all of that. All right, we have all the elements we need for our tree frog. So set down your pencil and grab your marker. I'm using a Sharpie. You use whatever you have on hand. So as long as you can't erase it, it will do the trick. We're going to start back here. On this little tailbone part, we're going to go over this angle and then hop on to our body oval and stop when we get to that eye. So over the angle and then around this oval. I'm going to stop when I get to the eye. If at any point your hand feels uncomfortable when you're drawing, adjust it. Pick it up, change it, rotate your paper. It shouldn't feel uncomfortable. Okay, now we've got this eye. So the eyes kind of bulge out of the head. That's why we drew a circle and then another circle. So we're going to go a little bit around this bigger circle and almost like we're doing a letter C. Just about like that much. And then we're going to go inside and do that little oval. Inside that oval, kind of close to this edge, we're just going to do a little line just like that for the eye. We didn't sketch that in, but I think you've got it. Okay, so this part kind of overlaps into that body. Now we're going to go back on that first oval that we drew all the way over to here. Like we're drawing the front part. This would be like the mouth of our little frog. If you notice, I had to stop and change direction with my hand. You may need to do the same thing. All right, now let's do that little mimicking line that we had. This would be like the bottom part of their mouth. Just like that. And stop. Let's go back and do that other eye. Now on this one, we're going to do kind of the opposite. We're going to draw this top circle first. Doesn't have to be perfect. See how mine's like a little wonky right there? That's fine. And then inside that, we're going to draw that line. Their pupils are like slits. Now for that circle that's behind there, we need to give a hint of that bulginess. So we're going to go a little around the top of that circle and a little around the bottom of that circle. All right. Now let's go and do the back legs, and then that will help us know what to do up here. For this back leg, we're going to draw in that arc that we had. This part is covered up by the body, and now we're going to go around the edge of that oval. Just like that. So we just kind of created that bend. Now let's do the little foot. We're going to go a little bit around that circle. We're going to hop onto the rectangle, go around that sticky pad there at the end, that's the circle, down the rectangle and onto that little arc. See how we just kind of connected all those shapes? I like to break it down into the shapes because it makes it less intimidating than trying to just come up with that shape all on your own. All right, same thing, we're just going to go around the edges of all of these shapes, and then we'll go back and we'll erase it when we're all done. And no one will ever know that we use those shapes to create that. I also like to use the shapes because it helps with believability. There are bumps and ridges in the right places on these animals that we're drawing. Okay, now we're going to do this back leg. So we're going to go around a little bit of this rectangle that we've got at the back here, or square, can't remember what I called it. Just a little bit there. And then where it connects there, we're just going to give a hint of that, just like a really light line with your marker. Now from here, we're just going to hop right on to that oval, and we're going to stop. We're not going to go all the way to the edge. We're going to go almost all the way to the edge. Now let's go back. We're going to go all the way back to that rectangle and down and around. This time, instead of connecting to that, we're going to shoot onto that other oval that we drew and stop. So we just kind of created like a V in a way, or a funky little heart. All right, now we can head on to the foot. We're going to go onto that arc, and then just like we did with this other foot, we're just going to go around the edges of the shapes, just like that. Rectangle around the circle, onto the rectangle, onto the arc. Rectangle around the circle, onto the arc. All the way around. We've got another foot there. All right, 2 arms left. Let's go back to this one over here. We're going to go around this oval. Oops, stop a little short. I forgot to do a connecting shape there. we're going to kind of just hop on over to that hand circle and then go around the edges of our shapes there. Add in our little arcs. Rectangle, circle, rectangle, arc, rectangle, circle, back to that oval. Stop there and then head up. All right, so you've got the back arm. Now let's do the other arm. We're going to go from like that little smile over and stop. Now we're going to hop onto this other oval and stop. Onto the hand, rectangle, circle, rectangle, arc, rectangle around the edge of the circle. You're doing so good. It gets a little repetitive with all these little fingers, doesn't it? All right, now we're going to go around that oval and then connect it over toward that smile. Now we can add in that little underbelly. So our red-eyed tree frog, they've got some beautiful bright green here, and they've got some blue and yellow underneath here. So if you wanted to, you could add in along that body oval a couple little dots to give that idea of like a transition in color. Oh, we need to add in our nostrils. Now we're just going to trace around our little ovals for the nose. And we're all set. We have everything we need. So now we're just going to add in a few details for some shading. So wherever we have some overlapping areas, we're just going to go over them one extra time to give a little shadow. So starting on that back foot, just add in one little arc there. On this front thigh, we're just going to make that front side just a little bit thicker. And then around that knee, where it hangs over the foot, we're going to make that a little bit thicker, just to give a little depth. We're making it professional here. Up on this arm, we're going to make this area a little bit thicker, and then we're going to add in that little shadow there, that area a little bit thicker. Last one, on this back arm, we're going to make this part just a little bit thicker. All I'm doing when I'm making those thicker is I'm following exactly over the lines that I already have, and I'm just making them a little bit thicker. Let's add in one more. I didn't have this one on my guide, but I could use one. Add in a little bit more there. We're all set. We're ready to erase. So grab your eraser. It can be the back of a pencil. It can be an art eraser, and let's erase together. Steady your paper with your non-drawing hand, and just back and forth you go to erase. That's all you got to do. If you have a darker area, go over it a little extra to get rid of all the evidence that we had some planning in there. Make it look effortless, and erase it all. Make sure you send me your drawings. That's the thing I really enjoy about doing these drawing tutorials. I love to see what people create. You get so creative. I have some people that will draw them and color them all in. I have one mom who draws them and then she gives them to her kids to color. That's really fun. But I don't know that you did that unless you tell me or you send me some pictures. So send me what you're up to, and you are also welcome to request what you want to draw next. We were doing that a lot in the spring, and we can do that again. So tell me what you want to draw, and if not, I'll come up with some things for us, and send me your drawings. You can attach them right to this video if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, you can go to my website and send me an email. All right, so we've got it all erased. We have an adorable tree frog. I'm going to switch back to my guide here to give you all my information. Rebecca Ink on YouTube and on Facebook, at Rebecca Inkabink on Instagram to see what I'm working on in my studio. RebeccaInk.com is my website. You can email me stuff from there. And that's it. I wanted to share with you real quick one other thing. I've been making these dotted rocks that have been super duper fun for me during the pandemic. Just something different and creative that I've been learning. With paint, I never paint. I don't feel like I'm good at it. But these have been really, really fun for me. I have tons and tons of them that will be for sale. So you can look for these. I'm posting them on Facebook And I may add them to my website. We'll see. But check them out. They're kind of cool. You can message me for ones that you're interested in. This one reminds me of the those scarves. They were popular when I was younger. They had the black, the white, the red, and the yellow. All right. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Stay safe, be kind, and I will see you next week. Thanks for playing along. Bye.